We're live.
Oh, cool. Howdy, everyone. It's that time of the week again for Crow's Nest No Quarter. This one's episode 34. It's called Dirk the Daring as the nod to the Dragon's Lair raid cycle. So hopefully everyone's...
That's the nod to the original Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
The fun one.
Yes. The awesome arcade game. So yeah, hope everyone's raids are going okay. The link, if you want to join us, has been posted in the YouTube chat. Did you put it on the Crow's Nest page, Damnation?
I didn't. I can.
No, it's no dramas. There's no point saying it's there if it's not there. So we'll say howdy, everyone. So let's go down through our illustrious panel of handsome, good-looking battle pirateers.
I better get off here then.
I was going to say that's wrong show. Shit. All right. So anyway, so g'day, Roscrow.
Good evening, everyone.
And howdy, Shane.
Hello, peoples.
And Toxic's here.
G'day, how we going?
Damnation's here.
Yep, I'm here.
And has Travis joined us or not?
Yeah, Travis is here.
Welcome. Hello. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were in or not. So, yeah, g'day. And I'm RB.
That's Doomsday, right?
Yeah. Sorry. My bad.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, for some reason, it wasn't showing whether, I couldn't tell whether he was muted or not. So, sorry about that. So, take it away, anyone. How's your raid going? What are you using? What's your tips and tricks? Blah, blah, blah.
My tips and tricks is don't do the 104s and 106s. Go do the 100s and the 102s because they're a whole lot less damage.
Oh, really?
That's my tips and tricks.
Very good. Considerable amount less, or?
Oh yeah, I can do the 102 for like 22 minutes damage.
Nice.
Oh, good deal. Good deal. I didn't know that. Yeah, I went out and got like I was saying in the last show, 100 million or in like 2 hours, and then I kind of put a damper on it, and because at that time the prizes list for me was almost complete, and then the prize list got revamped, and so I've been back out, but I've just kind of been hitting a set and slow repairing and hitting a set, and I noticed the damage change for me from that when I first started the encounters is so great that it's kind of it kind of took the fun out. So I have not loaded up another Grease Monkey crew and run another hour to see what I could do. I just figure out I'm just going to keep going this way.
Well, I mean, my big thought was, like I when the raid first started, I popped a Grease Monkey, and I got about 90 million, I think, for about 13 coins. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then they decided to up the damage. And then, I was like, well, okay, well, I'm just going to hit down instead because, so now you want to be greedy and turn up the damage and try to get more of my money. Well, guess what? Now you're not going to get any of it. And I'll just do the 102s and, do a bunch of them and then slow repair.
Right.
So by trying to be greedy, you actually ended up getting nothing from me as opposed to a little bit that you were getting before.
Well, and that's kind of the same boat I was in. I mean, granted, I was using Grease Monkey crews and everything, but I was just going right on the map nonstop. I didn't care because I totally consider that a reasonable amount but borderline, you know what I mean? With the repair that I'm getting now, it's not okay. And so I'm taking the same action by slow repairing. But I am enjoying the event. I'm not having a lot of lag. I'm not. I'm having. I enjoyed. I like the fleet. The fleet is performing a little different than it did in the the Dragon's Lair, or I mean, no, I'm sorry, the Halloween event we had, my Razor fleet is performing totally different. It's the same fleet. We used to shoot these circles, the speed up effect in front of the hull, and it doesn't do that any longer. And so I don't know.
Mine have always shot it any which way that it felt like doing it. Mine's never shot it only in front. Mine just like it goes willy nilly wherever the hell it wants to.
See, mine for sure did. I know the fleet well. I drove it. I did really well in that whole last event, and it didn't fire. I get the 45 bit, but mine fired at least in front of you.
Well, of course, though, that whole event, you were driving in a circle the whole time. So if it was firing off to the side, it ended up being in front of you. Maybe that's what was going on there.
No, I'm an auto player. I get to watch it go fire straight in front of me. And I know for sure it was firing in front, and I know for sure it's not now. Weird. That's the truth. Yeah, I didn't drive in circles.
Well, as far as me, I'm using the bat rays. I kind of got a late start, and I went out there and hit a tier 8 set when I started and got about 2 hours damage on running that tier set. So I said, okay. So I sat there and let that repair up and figure I'd get a fresh start. First set I go out there to go hit, I get all of a sudden I'm getting 3 hours damage. Now, the damage was across my fleet. So I kind of got pissed off and I let that repair for the 6 hours. I go out there to do another set of the targets. I mean, I get about an hour's damage on the 104, but when I went to hit the 106, I mean, they changed the mechanics again, because now all of a sudden everything's going back to my flagship again. I do one set and I don't have enough health to do another set. So now I'm down to 5 hours damage on my fleet, most of it being on my flagship for that set, and can't even do another set. So I dropped down to the 100s. Piss on it. I'm doing these things 14 minutes damage pretty much. I just take it my base and instant repair, and I'll just beats the hell out of getting 10 million every 5 hours. I can just get whatever I can get by just continually doing this, by doing it instant repair in the base all day.
Yeah, I know a lot of the people I've talked to have dropped down to doing the 100s and the 102s. So it seems like Kicks really kind of shot themselves in the foot by turning up the damage this time.
But that's where I'm at. I'm 172 million, and I ain't spent a damn coin.
So are you using you're using the locator on the right side instead of the event locator to find the hundreds?
Yeah, because if I can't find them in there, I'll use the raid icon thing up there. But it takes it a minute to load up before I could ever go over to targets and then go down there and do it. It's just quicker to use the locator as far as load up time, because I go to jump in there and it takes it like 5-8 seconds to even load up, do that little circle thing out there on it, you know.
Right.
So yeah, the locator's working. I have to use, you go into the locator and you pop up the event to find the 100s or the 102s. You have to pull up the targets icon down there.
Okay.
It's not under the tier 8 or whatever. It's under targets. And that's where you locate it.
I know for me, and I don't know if you're still doing it or not, Shane, but like I could go in my base and do it instant repair, but honestly, I got tired of all the running back and forth. So at this point, I just run it until I'm like half dead and then repair for like 4 hours.
Well, it helps being on the hangout like we were. It don't matter to me then. I can sit here and go back and forth because we're just sitting here chatting, jawing, getting along anyway. So, you know, it's just button clicks at this point, you know. But I mean, if I'm sitting here by myself, I'd have to put some music or something on, something to keep me grooving, you know, because it will definitely get monotonous. Now, when I get ready to get off, yeah, I'll go out there and hit a tier 8 set and then let it repair when I go to sleep, whatever.
Yeah, this is for me. I went from auto and raids to the change in the batteries in my mouse already. This, aren't you finding this one a serious? I mean, you're really putting your mouse to the workout on this event, don't you think?
Well, at least the left click button for sure.
Yeah,
It's not as bad as last raid though. I am definitely not driving in circles. I mean, I'm sitting here hitting the same target as I was last month, I guess. But when I'm sitting there going after those subs, the weapons I got in the FM, I think them's made a hell of a difference on me, the monotony of killing them damn subs.
right.
On my fleet in particular,
Right.
So not so bad as far as that part of it goes.
Who's next?
I guess I'll go. Well, go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so let's not have a 2-hour argument about who's going to go next. Doomsday, you're up.
All right. Well, when the raid first started, I went out and hit the tier 8 set, and my fleet performed in my mind like how I knew it would. Like, I know mine's limited with slower speed and stuff, but it was like hour and 50 something. It wasn't bad, and I was like, all right, cool. And I finished the workday out. I come home, I jump on, and I was like, what just happened? Because I wasn't getting hit by the mortars or running into cryo fields, but I was just like melting. And I had, refit all the several gales and several anti-torpedoes. And I was like, are they not working? But, then I hear everybody saying, oh man, it's like way increased, but, so I threw on a grease monkey crew. I was like, all right, I only had one. I wish I did, and it cost me 44 coins just to run it out, because even with grease monkeys, I was getting 8 coin repair. I'm like, what the hell, Like, this is like so broke. And I'm stubborn, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna stick to the 104s. I'm gonna get the ad nozzles, and so far I've got 2 refit, and it's honestly cut it in half, but I'm still at like 2 hours and something damage. So I'd have to continue, hitting them. I can do like 4 or 5 and then repair. But it's, slowly earning all those shards to make my fleet good enough to where by the end it's going to be over, but it'll be fixed to where it's tuned for what they have, but it's too late because it'll be last day before it's all done. So.
Yeah, and then that the time the next raid runs around, it's not going to be tuned that same way anymore. So you're probably going to have to do something else.
And this has been like the refit raid. I think we're like on the 3rd or 4th cycle of escalation refits for these fleets. I can't get anything else done because I keep messing with this.
I swear to God, I remember them saying they weren't going to do escalation shit. I swear to God, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, didn't they also say they were going to do? I mean, I know I heard them say that they're going to do away with the SSRBs.
No, I don't remember them ever saying that. I know they said they were going to scrap the rest of the protos, but they were going to do the proto Apollo because they didn't want it to be like the 7 Deadly Sins and never finish it. Although if they're not going to do a proto Garrison hull, guess what? They're never going to finish it. But yeah, I had never heard them say anything about that they were scrapping the SSRBs. I just saw where they said they were getting rid of the proto line.
Yeah, I remember them saying that they weren't going to do any more of the protos. But he's the Apollo, so I guess.
Well, they definitely said they were going to finish the Apollo. They definitely said that. They said that on the show, and that was a post on the forums.
Uh-oh, spinning fleets. That can't be good. Must be time to retreat.
So Toxic, how's your race going?
Yeah, I didn't get to start at the start because I was at work. But when I did my first run through on Saturday, I don't know. I found it was between 4 and 6 coins per set, per S set, or 8 tier 8 set, I should say. And I wasn't paying particular attention of how I drove. I drove in such a manner that I didn't engage the whole screen at one time. I did one bit at a time. But I didn't drive very carefully. I didn't use any tactics or anything like that. And 4 to 6 coins was, in my mind, acceptable. It wasn't on the lower side, but it wasn't on the high side either. It was sort of in the middle. I don't mind what I paid. I paid around about 30 coins, I think, for my first 100 million, and I was quite happy with that. I've only done one run through so far. I've gotten a couple of the new blueprints, and I've put them on yesterday, and I haven't done a run since, so I don't know how good they would be in the tier 8s now. I did do a 1 or 2 though, and then that gave me, I think it was 45 minutes. Second time gave me about 45 minutes repair. The first time was over an hour, because I didn't really drive that well. And then I thought I'd auto it, and I autoed 3 for 6.5 hours repair. So, but yeah, it's a little bit too much. So and although I do need the nailhead rockets, I'd rather have the shards for the tier 8 set. Don't know when we're going to get more of them, so I want to get at least. I think it's the 104s that we get that nozzle. I'm not sure now, but either way, I want to get those shards. So I'm going to do another run through with a grease monkey. Hopefully nothing's changed since yesterday when I did my first run through, and I'm willing to spend another 30 coins and let that be it. But all in all, it's not a super bad event. It's sort of enjoyable. It's not monotonous like the Flying Dutchman. So I don't mind. It's not bad for the time I put in.
The main reason you guys want the nozzle is because you're running anti-torpedo countermeasures, right? And it increases the range on them. And the reload, yes.
Yes, and for the Gales also.
Yeah.
Well,
And
yeah, I
it
know.
gives damage, extra damage too.
Well, it increases reload, I believe, not damage, right?
Oh, well, maybe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just reload and range for countermeasures.
I mean, I'm planning to have a dedicated countermeasure ship for the last raid, and yeah, see how it goes. If it doesn't work, well, bad luck. But that's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion would be like, if you're not somebody who got a bunch of the anti-torps, I don't think the nozzle is worth it if you don't have a bunch of anti-torps on your fleet.
Yeah. I got a bunch. So it works. You can tell a noticeable difference, in just 2. So it's just a grind to get them, even on tier 8. Shards make tier 8 a grind. What?
Yeah, like for me and using razors, like 104, the 104 is the worst target for me. The 104 is the one that really jacks my jaw up, Yeah.
And to what Shane said before, like I've from the very start, doesn't matter what target I went into, it was always hit my lead ship first. For some reason I don't know, but I could do a 1 coin repair in between sets, and go again. It for some reason the flagship was always gonna like almost dead after a set.
Well, see, in the beginning, it wasn't like that.
Right. Like I said, I wasn't there at the beginning, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's what gets me, how the shit changes. Okay, this is how they're going to run it this time, all across the board. Okay, and then that makes me where I can run more. And then I sit there and I was able to run 2. They'd already upped the damage, but it was still the original mechanic where it was all the way across the board, all the ships taking even damage. And then I go and do that next set after that repaired up. I can't do another set, man. I got less than a quarter damage on my fucking flagship. This sucks. I can't even do. I ain't coining that shit. You know, I ain't gonna coin inconsistency and just putting the screws to me like that. I mean, I want those damn. I want those blueprints also, but I am not going to sit there and coin or and that damage for what did we figure up the other day. How many of those damn targets? I had to get at least 250 million points in hitting those things alone just to get 5 pieces of that equipment.
Mhm.
Piss on you with that fucking 6 hours a set.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to get all
Well, that's how I really feel. I ain't doing that shit.
See, luckily I haven't saw the my Brennus's, usually has more damage at the end. So, and I'm really glad I haven't saw that yet, or I'd be aggravated as well. Because I went 3 hydrofoils and a CT6. I got 78 evade. I got my explosive and concussive up as high as I could get it. And as long as it works that way, I'll be fine. But the moment I start taking more damage on that, yeah, I'm gonna be ill.
Well, see, I did all that too. I busted my evade up there, put on the hydrofoils and everything for that purpose. And then it was all for naught. Some bitches, they're going to end up finding a way to hammer the shit out of it anyway.
Damn.
I even got some of the anti-torpedoes on there. One across the fleet, one on
I
each.
know one thing that me personally annoyed me a little bit was the lack of no flagship tokens in the raid. Like I would have seen like a day or two's worth for each flagship because say I get 5 of each of the new limited specials. Well, I can refit the rest of my fleet with tokens, but there's going to be my flag sitting there not the same.
Yeah. See, I saved 2. I saved 2 skirmish just for that, and I'm out already. So.
Yeah. But I mean, it should be based around. It shouldn't be based around having to save going into it for refits. Refits. You should be like, okay, well, if you have to refit, here are the tokens available that you can get to refit, and we can for the regular boats, just not for the flags. So if I want to say refit like the nozzle or the one other special on my flagship, that means that's 18 hours that I'm going to have to be doing that refit that I can't do any raid because I don't have my flag.
Yep.
I mean, the prizes that they put in, I thought they were a bit pricey for what they are. I think a lot of them come in at 25 million points. And I mean, I'm not 100% sure now because I've already claimed the Apollo, but I thought the Apollo was only 20 million.
It is.
So you got a bit of armor and a Hyper 30. That's costing more than what the new hull does, the new proto hull. So yeah.
Well, we had that last time as well, remember?
Yeah, I totally don't understand their prices on some of this stuff. Like the reinforced chromium armor that's 25 million points. Well, okay, so you're going to charge me an extremely premium price for something that's last raid cycle? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't think I've used that to this day yet.
Aren't they going over to the deflection? So you might not even put it on.
No.
Okay.
Nothing in PvE is changing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to just say thank you for the 100 tip. I just ran through a level 100 with the absolutely, you can't get any worse driving. I just tried to run them over top of everything. And that's okay damage for me. I picked up, I drove straight into everything I could, and I got 21 minutes and 49 seconds.
Yep, there you go. Like I said, I know tons of people have just gone down to hitting the 100s and the 102s because they're not going to put up with the bullshit of the 104s and 106s.
Yeah. And I like the layout of the 104s and 106s. It broke up the monotony from the previous raid. But when you increase that damage, that just makes players want to bounce right out and be like, oh well, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the raid was really, really good for the first, couple hours. I thought it was extremely enjoyable. I thought the damage to coin ratio was right where it should be. And then they're like, oh, well, no, apparently people are happy. We can't have that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say I'm very disappointed in the tier 8 this raid kicks. Very disappointed. Was happy as shit with it when it first came out, but then you did your little knob turning and you ruined it for everybody. RB, how's your raid going? I think you're the only person we haven't heard from yet.
Yeah, I realized I was muted before because I was going to ask. That's the trouble when flicking between screens, but because I was going to ask Doomsday, so that seems like an incredibly high repair cost, but then I guess you said you were using the was it hydrofoil plating, so that would probably explain it. So that kind of made it make sense what you were saying. So I've had some different issues during all of this raid, so it's kind of been a bit funky, but I've been hitting the 100s and 102s as well. So so my Friday night, so whatever that is in American time, was just having the worst lag, and I had the same issue with the Flying Dutchman, that I would just click and click and click and nothing would happen, and I was like when Ross was talking about getting new batteries before, it's the same. I need a new mouse now. I've been clicking so much, and my poor little claw hand's not doing particularly well either. But so that was a bit of a struggle on Friday night, and I kind of just gave up. I was like, well, this isn't really going very well. But then my Saturday morning, which I guess would be your Friday night, I was having much better success and not having any lag in the targets, and my razor tails were going where they were supposed to be. So I kind of ended up with quite a few points yesterday. So I don't know, I'm at 180 million or something like that. I'm not sure. But now I've just been hitting 102s and 100s. But this morning I spent about an hour and a half, and I could not get the game to load whatsoever. I tried all the different platforms, and then I went over to Discord to see if there was anything going on, because there was nothing on the forums, and went over there and saw a few other people were having a few problems as well, but some were and some weren't. So I don't know whether it was a server issue or what it was, but it's suddenly come good again now. So I've been hitting a few targets recently, but it's only the small targets. So I would like to get some more of the nozzles, but I don't know if it's worth at this stage me using another grease monkey to do that. So, but I mean, it's been a mixed bag, I guess, is my long version of a short story.
And I've had some really weird issues with my bat rays, like they're overcorrecting in the turns up against the borders, and
okay,
it'll like completely turn 180, even though my waypoint is set at a different direction, and the model sitting sideways and like moving. I'm like, maybe I should report it, but then I was so aggravated. It's like, I'm not wasting my time on that. And I hate to be that way, but I just was aggravated that it was just kind of one thing after another at that point. So.
Yeah, well, see, and it was interesting too, because I went and checked that, because I've got the Brennus lead. So I was like, okay, well, is this just my problem, or is it a razor tail issue, or what is it? But then when I put the Brennus on my razor fleet, I could click and turn just perfectly. So I really don't understand what it was and what the issue was. So yeah, it was a bit bizarre.
Oh.
Cool. All right. So what else are we going to talk about?
Well, we can talk about some prizes and hulls and stuff if you want. And what do we think about the getting a built proto Apollo at the end of it? And what's the clarification? Do we know that yet?
You mean the proto Apollo we get that's going to have one weapon and one special on it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it saves a day or something.
I think it's being pretty cheap. When we did the proto, when we got the proto Tide Seekers, when we got a free one of those, it was like actually fully built
and a decent build too. So
yeah.
Oh, it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this. It's one weapon, one special.
Yeah, it's one special.
Oh, okay.
So what's it going to save? Like a day and 10 hours, probably, or something?
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah, so I
The whole build fast.
I don't know what kind of real incentive that's supposed to be for anybody, but I can tell you, it's not much one. All right,
Yeah,
well, let me ask you guys this: does anybody plan on building them?
No, and a matter of fact, here's the deal. I wasn't planning on to also before, and then they announced that, and I misunderstood, and that changed my opinion. I thought maybe I'll build a fleet, and I actually have already built a hull or two blank, and because of that, and guess what? I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to stop building them.
Yeah, same here. Also, I'm on my second hull, so I didn't know that either. It just said you receive a pre-built Apollo after the redemption period is over.
Yeah.
I guess it should have said a fully compared to pre. Who knows? I understood the same thing as you, that we're getting a fully built one, and you just have to build 4, and that's the bonus one, like the Tide Seeker, whatever it was we got. Yeah, so I'll stop too after that. Matter of fact, I might stop it right now.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's what everybody thought. And it was clarified on Discord that no, you're getting one weapon on it and one special on it. You're going to get one of the new weapon and one of the new special on it, and that's it.
Yeah, I'd probably maybe make 3, maybe make 4. I'm not going to rush off to do them. I'll just make them bit by bit. You know, a day or 2 here and a day or 2 there. That's kind of my plan, because I have used my prototypes a bit. I'm certainly not going to be in any rush to rank them. That's for sure, because it's not going to be an easy process. But yeah, I'll build them slowly, I guess, over time.
Well, honestly, it's kind of funny for me. The real clincher of me deciding not to build them was the video that they put out, which was supposed to have the exact opposite effect. But like when I looked, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have to spend 75 days building these goddamn things, and it's gonna save me 40 minutes on target. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend 75 days building a fleet for 40 minutes worth of repair in SSRB. No, not gonna happen.
Yeah, well, honestly, it'll probably be a little more, because their preview of that, the Manticores were in a low target, and then the other ones were in a completely different target that was higher damage. So it don't really relate to unless you're really paying attention, like, what's the difference here? But in the end, they're not really telling us by that preview what the real amount of damage saved is for the same target.
Is there a target for it yet? There isn't one, is there?
They're actually 2 different targets. I thought they were the same target.
Well, maybe they just approached it from 2 different angles, but I noticed the Manticores were just taking out turrets and stuff like that, where the Apollos were fighting fleets coming
right
through.
It was 2
different sides, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was just 2 different sides, but I'm pretty sure it was the same target. Yeah, I don't know 100% sure, but that's what I'm thinking by what I'm looking at here, because I'm on the video looking at as we speak. Carry on. Dead airspace bad.
But yeah, I'm kind of interested in, I guess, in changing some of the armor out with some of the limited on my Manticores, I guess, to make that fleet better. Since I have Manicore tokens also, I think it's that might be my best option. Is trying to get the repair down on my Manicores, not make them better, just less repair.
Coming back, my dock is so pathetic. I might have to at least make 3. You know, slowly over time with FM tokens, of course.
I'm just like, I don't know. Honestly, I might take the next month to upgrade my shipyard.
Yeah.
I got proto Apollos, you know.
Yeah, that would have been another thing that I would have liked to have seen in the prizes too, was structure build tokens or something like that as well, to try and get us over that hump of that happening. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad to see the CTCO armor 2 in there. I thought it was a little bit pricey, but whatever. I think we'll see some variety of fleets being able to hit bases again now. I'll kind of open things up a little bit more.
yeah, see, to me, it's like I don't know. I'm really conflicted on this because I've just spent time putting the first one on, and now here's the second one, and it's like, well, you know, what do? Do I not even bother and just wait for the third one?
Yeah.
And just make do with what I've got. I'm just really conflicted by all of this stuff, and you know, part of me says, awesome, there's the new armor, that's great, you know, I'll stick it on now, but you know, the third one's going to come out, so
well, why
would I bother?
Not only that, but you know, the refactor's gonna happen.
Yes.
So you have no idea what you're gonna want after that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the semi-open test server that's coming up on Monday. I mean, I say semi-open because it's not, you know, just the same people that are usually in it. They've actually opened it up to putting 50 or 60 more different people in there for the PvP test server. What do you guys think about that?
I think it'd be interesting if they could stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna push really hard for streaming because I think this is something that like it's gonna so impact and affect the game across the board for everybody that I think everybody should be able to have a look at it and see maybe not like definitively what they're gonna do, but it will at least give the community a general sense of the direction that they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until I hear something back from somewhere before I put another plate of armor on my boats. I mean, there's certain hulls you know you don't need an XR3 plate on, so you know you can put the 2 or the 1 on if it's enough, depending what weapons you run. But yeah, the ones that need it, I will wait and see what happens. And depending on what the news is there, then I'd make up my mind.
Yeah, I think having a test server is a really good idea, and I think it's good that it's been opened up to a few more people, but there doesn't have to be, but it would be nice to see some sharing of what's going on that, so that the wider community can get a view on what's happening as well. But I do understand that, you know, they may want to just have those, you know, however many hundred people it is, you know, whether it's 200 or 300 or whatever, and just take that data and work with that without showing it to everyone. But I would want to see it. But,
I think it's like 50 or 60, not 200 or 300.
Right. I was thinking it's 60 or something like that. But what I want to say to those people, that whoever, you know, gets the chance to do that, is to not do what we've done for 7 years, and to just take a moment and review the surveys and actually fill them out with the most complete as you can, in all honesty, however you feel. But don't be ranting and raving, but explain your feelings. If it's not what you like or what you suggest, write it all down this time. Really put it out there, and critique it, and do a good job. And don't be a troll on the thing, so we can continue in the future. I think it's only a personal opinion, but my personal opinion on why they stopped the test servers in the past were because they didn't get no benefit, no beneficial information came out of them. They truly were filled with trolling. The game sucks. The fleet sucks. And no critique information. That needs to change, and we can do that.
And I would say too, like if you're one of the fortunate people to get on there, actually go out and do base hitting. Don't sit in your base the entire time doing nothing but crunching numbers that have changed on blueprints and stuff like that. Because quite honestly, you're not helping anybody. Because number one, we don't even know those are going to be the end statistics that they end up being. So crunching those numbers is probably a big waste of your time. And number two, if you don't actually put the stuff into place, they can see how it's working. You're not helping anybody.
No. And also, if they just pick, say they get one fleet that's, good, and they see that's working, a lot of times in the past preview servers, people would just turn it into a show-off fest, like, oh, look how badass this fleet is, or look at me and all this. I would highly suggest building as much stuff as you can and testing it every possible way that you can, because that's what's going to help us in the end. If you take that little bit of time for one day, and like Ross said, write down notes as you're doing it. If you see something at that time, just jot it down, because when you go back to do the survey, you might forget it. Just do it thoughtfully, do it thoroughly, and do it for the players. You're the core of us to help get this information lined out between the players and the team.
Yep. And
Yeah, good point.
I just hope.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just hope they let people stream it, because it doesn't just affect the top players of the top alliances. It affects the little and the medium players of all the alliances as well, and anything that they can see of what's going to be like is going to be beneficial for everybody. So I hope they'll let, but we'll have to wait and see.
Like I said, I know I'm going to push hard for it, but just because I push hard for something doesn't mean it's going to happen, as we've seen many, many times in the past. Sometimes I get something through, but more than likely, more often than not, I don't, but every now and then I do. So we'll see. And like, there are certain people, like there was one guy on, well, never mind. I just hope everyone uses the test server for what they're supposed to.
Yeah. Well, see, to me too, this is a good opportunity for some positive, good vibes. That sounds so hippie. To get a bit of excitement going in the community and stuff like that as well. That we've tested stuff; it's working really well. Because every player's opinions do carry a lot of weight with other players. So, the more that those people can get excited and say this is working well, because, the last thing we want everyone to do is turn around and go, oh, it was rubbish. So feedback to Kickside is really good, but at the same time, we also need to, be careful that we don't, just shoot it down before it's happening. So to me, it would be a good opportunity to create a real buzz about this and get some excitement back in the community.
For sure, because you remember when they come out before, everybody was waiting for the people who could stream. Like, I'd be sitting at work, like watching over my shoulder, like, is my boss there? Because this starts in like 2 minutes. Man, come
on. That's awesome.
I know. I think it's going to be very difficult for some people to think outside their boxes on that too, because you have to look at both sides of it. Not like, okay, not just that base hitting is really good. You also have to look at, is base defense good or not. And for some people, that's going to be hard to look outside of their little boxes sometimes, because there are people, who don't care about base defense at all, but all they care about is hitting. So the hitting part of it's working really good. They're going to be like, oh yeah, this is great. But they have to look at it from the opposite perspective too, and be like, okay, well, if I'm getting through these bases and they're not doing anything to me, the base part obviously is not good. So if you are one of the lucky people who manages to get in there, please try to look at things from both sides, not just your own side.
For sure.
Well, that's right, because if you're doing that to somebody else, the chances are that somebody else is going to be able to do that to you too. So you do have to. Well, I mean, I know there's people out there who don't really care about their bases and they're just happy to smash shit up. But yeah, from a defense, oh man, my tongue's so tied. From a defense point of view,
see, that's me. That's me. I'm a defensive player. I really don't care to go out hitting bases, but I do take pride in being able to keep people out of my base. I was always a fleet-to-fleet fighter, and I don't care for base hitting, but I do prefer to have I do like to have a nice base. And it feels like a lot of times they like to turn around and make these changes, and it ties my hands even more.
Yeah.
Making it easy for the attacker. And that it really gets under my skin because I'm a defender. I'm not an offensive player. I'm a defender myself. So, yeah, I mean, please look at both sides of it, because I didn't get in.
Well, did you send a message to get in?
Nope.
Well, that would be why you didn't get in.
That's why I would like some of the other people to stream it more than just the normal people that stream. If the people who got in, it's easy to do on YouTube, right? The streaming stuff, didn't they see, I always did it on Twitch, but didn't YouTube got it to where you can stream now?
Oh, they do, yeah. But I mean, when it comes to the streaming thing, my personal perspective, I don't see why they wouldn't allow people to stream it, because it's not, with having a big influx of different people come in that aren't normally on test servers, that everything's going to get out. So why, at that point, knowing that ahead of time, why would you not let people stream it? That wouldn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm sure someone's going to record it and there'll be snippets coming out, even if it's not allowed. So that's just
not a leaky boat.
Say again?
I said not a leaky boat. That wouldn't be any good.
No, not a leaky boat, no.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's that topic done. What do we all think about the resizing of things on the map and how that's all going down? Seems to have happened pretty smoothly so far.
Here, I have a question. I don't know if the rest of you really looked at it closely or not. The FM targets, the model that we have on the map now, is that even the same model, or did they go back to an FM or two ago and use those models?
I can't see any FM targets.
Well, I mean, but you saw before the raid, right?
No.
I just kind of thought they looked like that corner core of it, without the two branches that come off.
To me, I swear to God, they look like the FM targets that we had 2 or 3 FMs ago, and not the ones that we currently had.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for me, it would have been a timing thing, because I would have, it would have been the end of the Flying Dutchman, work, sleep, work, raid. So yeah, I didn't see them at all.
Did you happen to notice, Travis? I know you're an art and programming guy. You take more close notice of that stuff probably than the rest of us.
I think it was at least a section of it. I didn't really, to be honest, pay a lot of attention to it. The one thing I did notice, even though the FM map target was smaller, it's actually easier for me to click on the phone. I guess the hotspot for the triggers that function. it's just easier now, except for players' fleet. It's like it's kind of hard for me if I wanted to go hit somebody in retaliation. Like I gotta tap all around that fleet before I can finally get the little pop up. But everything else is worked out a lot better because the map targets and everything were so big. It's like it had a little sweet spot in it, where I'm tapping with the phone and not hovering over with the cursor. So um, it's kind of good and bad for me in some cases, but I don't really mess with a lot of people anymore anyway, because unless they really make me mad. But
Well, you're not in a position right now where you can mess with a lot of people anymore. Gotta give you another month or two.
yeah,
I know it's funny looking at bases on the map because the four of us are pretty close together at the moment, and all you can see is beetles everywhere. There's just raid targets everywhere. So I'm sure there's some bases under there somewhere. So it's good that they're smaller, but by golly, are they around our bases?
yeah.
Not that it stopped someone from stealing someone else's targets, but anyway, we
Yeah.
won't talk about that.
Yeah, somebody was rather bitter about that on the hangout the other night. Doomsday was stealing all your targets.
Yeah, it was funny.
Travis was like, what? What was I doing?
Yeah, what are you talking about? I'm just using my phone. I don't know anything what you're talking about. But no, it was funny. You lit it up just as I got there, and I was like, right, I'm going to snipe him. I'm going to get him.
I told him, I said, that probably is not going to end well for you.
Yeah, it was funny, but I guess you kind of had to be there. Cool beans. All right, so is there any other topics that we want to talk
Since
about?
you talked about sniping just now, aren't they going to fix the sniping at the same time as what? As they compress the sectors down, or when the refractor comes out, or when is the sniping issue going to be fixed? Does anybody know that?
I don't know. I haven't heard a specific date for it. Although I will reiterate, though, that it was really funny that on the overall, what's your biggest complaint about Battle Pirates? The sniping only came in at 4%. I will reiterate. Thought that was very interesting.
That was pretty telling, that poll, and it was good that they did them, and it was good that there was a bit of clarification about the putting the build and repair and refit times together. So it's good because they've done another version of it, I think, now, the poll.
Yeah, they narrowed it down to the top 6 things. It was going to be the top 4, but he had to split some of that stuff up. And the results are coming in, I think, where I knew for sure they were going to come in. I think most people knew for sure where they were going to come in, was that repair time is the big problem. The repair time is actually the underlying issue for every other complaint we have in the game almost.
Yeah.
I've thought about that from a game design point of view, how if I had to face this problem, what I would do, and of course it would have to be tested, but in theory, if you're on the map and they program like a end and statement, or if and and statement, where say if this certain hull attacks this, basically you would have dual crews. One crew is to help the PvP. It'll automatically give you some thermal where you can detect them, and reduce your repair times versus that style of fleet. And then you could level that playing field where both of you end up with the same damage, and it's the risk versus reward. So he's like, all right, I'm going to hit it, but he's going to see me, and I might hurt just as much as him. Is it going to be worth it?
Well, they'd have to do a real big thing as far as pass through and hit points and all that stuff at that point. Because Conqueror hulls with 2.3 million points, sniping, shore fleets that only have 30,000 health maybe at the most, half the time.
94,000 now.
Yeah.
But still, that's very minute compared to 2.3 million.
Yeah.
He's 22 times stronger than I am as far as armor alone, not including deflection versus defense. You know.
You know, I myself think it's a good thing that that you can't snipe drill fleets that can't defend themselves, and it can put it can put you out for a day almost. Like my Navy course, they're what, 18 hours or whatever out of repair or whatnot, 20, I can't even remember. So it's a good thing.
Well, let me ask you this though: like, if your mana cores are only 6 or 8 hours to repair, would you care as much if you got sniped?
I'd still be 6 hours if I come home from work at 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and then I go out, hop in one target, get sniped. Well, that's me done. But,
It's the repair time.
It wouldn't be so bad if I could inflict some pain on the attacker and maybe,
Yeah.
almost kill his fleet. Then, yeah, okay, I can't play, you can't play, or you coin it and I coin it, either or. But the way it is now, you might as well just, as soon as you get hit or snipped.
The repair time.
Don't go and get snipped, mate.
No, you don't
Hang
wanna
on,
get-
hang on,
no.
one at a time. One at a time. Finish what you were saying.
Yeah, if you get sniped, you might as well switch your computer off. That's as simple as that. Because you can't defend yourself.
Yeah.
All right, Shane, you were going to say something?
Well, I was just agreeing with him. Yeah, the repair time needs to be fixed regardless. But the ships do need to be able to do something to the other fleet. I mean, used to, yeah, there's a chore fleet out there and you get sniped. But like you said, you could hurt them too. The fleets used to be able to take care of themselves to a certain extent before they decided to change everything and do that old split and all that shit. I mean, that's also the other half of the issue is just the one-sidedness of the battle. You come in, and I mean, right off the bat, every Conqueror hull outranges every chore fleet hull by at least 12. And then comparable in speed, you'll never be able to catch them as far as that respect, much less not even being able to hurt them because of deflection. So, I mean, it all needs to be addressed. I do miss fleet to fleet battles. But right now, I mean, as far as what they're talking about, the sniping, it is totally one sided. They got the cheaper repair time and they got the powerful ships. It sucks for the guy getting sniped for sure.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm much the same because I enjoyed the fleet to fleet, but I guess you've just got to try to make sure that you can, as a player, do everything in your power not to get sniped as well. So that's why I think sometimes these, the polls showing being quite skewed because it's there are ways to get around it, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they sort it all out. But anyway, on that note, sorry everyone, I'm gonna have to split. I've got a family barbecue today, and I need to go and cook meat.
Killer diller, Bo.
So good luck with your raid, everyone, and yeah, have fun.
You mean I actually have to take over and run my own show?
Sorry.
Son of a bitch.
Well, let's face it, I don't do a good job of it anyway, so
I know you do as good a job as I do, so.
it's not going to be much of a loss. So anyway, cool. Good luck, guys. See ya.
Have fun.
Bye.
All right, so what else are we going to talk about? Anybody got anything, or are we pulling the plug?
Yeah, well, the repair times. What would be a good, in your opinion? What would be a fair and reasonable amount of repair time?
30 minutes on the hull.
No, I'm not going to go because it has to be fair and reasonable from both perspectives.
I know.
Not only from ours, but from theirs as well. I would probably be leaning towards 6 to 8 hours for a fleet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Reasonable for both sides.
Yeah, because if it was 6, then you have basically 4 options of repair throughout a 24-hour period. You know what I'm saying? Like you could, if you get hit once, you can go 6 hours and fix it. And if it happens again, it's not completely putting you out of the game all day.
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly even be willing to go as high as 10, maybe, because that'd be 2 hours per hull after it's fully armored and kitted out and everything. I don't think that would be unreasonable for either side.
Yeah.
What did the rest of you think?
Yeah, I think that would be the max, though. You know what I mean? That would not be where I would want to start back at. You know, that would be a comfortable amount. If I'm using a fleet, what I would like to do is, you know, and I kill it off at night, it'd be nice if it was repaired by the time I wake up. But I can see maybe an hour or two after that. But I would think it should be able to be. You should be able to play again the next day after a sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I would love that too. I'm just kind of looking at it from both perspectives because I'm not sure how willing they'd be to take a fleet from being a 25-hour repair and dropping it down to like 8. Yeah, I don't see them. I think it might even be a pipe dream expecting them to drop it down to 10. You know, we're going to decrease this repair time by 15 hours, which would be more than half.
I agree, but at the same time, that opens the door to and creates coining when there wasn't coining before. Like my own self, I will coin short repairs like that, no problem, and gladly, and I'll do it probably more times than I would have coined a whole expensive fleet, because the one expensive fleet, it upsets me when I have to pay so many coins for one fleet repair. And I'll be honest, I'd spend more though if it was cheaper.
I'm always willing to do more micro transactions, you know.
Well, the repair time all sounds good and fun, but the damage the ships cause each other needs to be addressed too, because you can put the repair times even, you're still not going to hurt them as bad as they're going to hurt us.
That's
94,000.
Wait. We're not talking about sniping and fleet versus fleet at this time. We're talking about just repairs in general.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, what I would actually love to see, what I would really love to see, and I don't see this happening either, but like once a fleet is not for the current raid cycle anymore, then at that point its repairs can get cut in half all the time.
That would be huge. That would be huge itself.
Yeah, at that time, the only thing we're doing with them is using them for chores, which is just made up stuff that they put in the game anyway. You know, because like we never used to have to do titanium and uranium and base parts and all that crap. You know, so I would love to see, just after it's not in a current raid, cut its repair time in half.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good, because that would actually prolong the use. Because a lot of times, you know, like once a fleet gets so dated, the ability versus that time that it takes to repair is just, you know, it's not worth even trying. But people could still get more use out of those fleets for a longer term if they did do what you just said.
Because I mean,
I'd love to run my Seawolves now, but you know, that'd be another 5 hours. If it was an hour, dude, I'd have Seawolves still running around just to mess with people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because like the biggest thing that I see all the time is like what keeps people from engaging in the game is just repair times. You know, it's like, oh, I would love to do that TLC, but you know, I did this TLC and I lost like almost my entire fleet, which is now going to take me 24 hours to repair, or 13 hours, or however crazy amount of damage that you took. So it's like, so I don't really have time to do this TLC over here, because then I'm going to end up with like 48 hours worth of repairs and I'm never going to get caught up.
No, I did not do any of the last 2 TLCs that were out. I did not do any of them for that reason. First of all, I didn't know whether was I gonna get through the whole thing, the whole 7 stages of it, without killing the fleet. And then once you got through that far, well, it's really silly not to put a couple of coins on it and finish it. And I didn't want to do that, so I didn't even start it. And then you hear from everybody else how crazy the damage was, and I said, oh, well, I was right. So there's doesn't bother me. I'll just slow build whatever tokens I've missed out on. So it's not my. In the end, it's not me who's going to suffer. It's Kixo not getting a coin from me.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of those TLCs, that's a great example. Like, I know very, 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 very few people who were going to be willing to spend like 28 coins to repair their fleet to finish the TLC. But I can guarantee you, many more people would have been willing had it been like 12 or 14.
I would have been one of them. Or at least part repair it so you can finish it and then, do the rest overnight and then do another one the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it kind of stings when you get to like the sixth one and, and you get put out and then you got to fix the fleet just to do the final one, and then it's like you're almost wasting the coin because, you're going to make it through that, but you're generally having to spend more than what the last target's worth.
But if it was less, I'd spend it, and then I'd stay in game spending and probably spending more.
Yeah, I know one of the things that Just Mike had talked about on Discord the one day, and I might have touched on this before once, was about, for chores, it's like, okay, well, what if we gave you a target that gave you 5 times the point payout, but you took 5 times the damage? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, no, that doesn't help because I'm still going to be down for that exact same amount of time while I'm repairing if you give me 5 times the damage for 5 times the point. There's I've gained nothing. My downtime is still going to be the exact same.
Correct.
Yeah, because when you're doing the chores like the way I was doing them, going after the uranium and titanium, I haven't set up for base parts yet. But the 2 fleets I had, I could go out and auto and just send them off, and I could go on and continue playing with other fleets while I'm collecting. Just like we used to mine, sort of. It's kind of the same principle. You can go send it out there. Of course, it's more active. You got to do it more times. But it's not stressful, and it's to me it don't seem like a chore if I can just send it out and fill up and have a decent repair to where I can do it again the next day if I need to, but still continue to play with the other fleets.
I know I'd still love to see him revisit expeditions and give him payouts that were actually worth a damn, and then I wouldn't have to worry about doing any of these map chores.
That's something I've never done as an expedition.
Set my fleet out for a day, and it comes back with full warehouse of whatever resource I chose. I'm down that fleet for a day. That's my my detriment for doing expeditions. Is I cannot use that fleet for anything else for the entire time that it's gone, whether it's a day or 2 days or whatever. I think a day is more than reasonable because I can go out and fill up on the map in probably 2 hours or something like that. So I'm willing to give up an extra 22 hours of not being able to use my fleet for it to come back with a full warehouse.
It's the thing is though, what you need to think about is there is us lucky ones that have the high level fleets that can auto them and take an hour damage or 2 hours damage. But what about the mid level player that hasn't got these fleets, that has to go into smaller targets and their fleet gets you can only do 3 or 4 targets, and if the damage was 5 times high, he wouldn't even be able to finish it. So
he wasn't saying that would be the case for all of the targets. He's saying what if we put one out that you would get 5 times the point.
Okay.
5 times.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this.
But right, as far as that doesn't help the little guy. The little guy's still going to be struggling, have to put all that time in and still take all that damage. So you're right in that aspect of things.
If they would, maybe tune the targets just a little better for the, the lower guys, because they're not going to need to use as much of that resource at a time as a top end player would. So if they could negate some of their damage to where that grind is worth it and still usable, I think it would be all right. Because sometimes I'll hit lower targets, just for the hell of it. I know I can map repair them, but they would still have to drive, of course. and their version would be definitely more chore oriented because you'd have to grind it out. But it's still an option for them to have something, I guess.
Well, and I mean, I know another thing is like we were originally told when these things became map targets, transferred from being raid targets to map targets, like they were going to be scaled because of us not having half repair time. I don't know that I've ever seen them ever be scaled due to us not having half repair time. I think that the map targets, once they go to become chore targets, actually end up doing pretty much almost the exact same damage that they did in raid.
Mm-hmm. I would like to have it just a universal chore fleet. It'll do all three. You know, all three of the uranium base parts and everything. 'Cause, man, it really sucks having to have all these fleets to do minute annoyances in the game at extended periods of time. It's just give me one thing, I can go do whatever. You know, just make a cool general's hull or something specifically for collecting that type of resource.
Oh, don't! Oh, wait, no, that's not religious generalist at all.
Well, not that, but you know what I'm saying. Where
Yeah,
it could cover all aspects of that.
yeah.
You know, we're
Unfortunately, I think that train has already left the station.
yeah. We're on to multiple types of fleets for each resource now. I mean, look at this right now with the Proto series.
Yeah.
So
it's just kind of, you know, you got to focus so much like on kind of like one direction at a time. That's the main crutch for me is there's so much I have to do, so many fleets I need just to do these little things. It takes, you know, some of the fun out of it because I'm always having to plan like, all right, what's my next move that's actually going to keep me slightly moving forward or something, you know?
Right.
Well, in your position, it's really hard too, having come back from after all that time being gone.
No.
Like now you're like, well, I need to go backwards and forwards all at the same time.
Yeah.
You know. So, I don't know. Anybody got anything else, or we want to call it?
No, I think the whole key to really the best information that I heard, I'm sorry if it's not what everybody else is hit the hundreds. I'm serious. It's a huge change, coin wise. So it will change your rate.
Yeah, I know I can go out and I can hit them, and I like I said, I've gotten tired of going back in my base and splitting it up for instant repair all the time. So I just go until my fleet's like half dead, and I can usually get like 25 million points and then repair for 4 hours.
That's decent for me. That's good.
Anybody else got anything else?
No.
Toxic?
All good here.
Oh my gosh, Toxic always has his last minute thing. What's going on there? All right, I guess we're gonna call it then. Thanks guys in chat for coming out and participating. We always appreciate you. Give us a thumbs up and a subscribe, and send your friends to the page if they're not already there. And for the rest of your raid, hit down is my advice, and we will talk to you next Thursday. And I guess at that point we'll all be compacted in our little 20 sectors or whatever we're gonna have, and we'll see how that goes. Everybody cross your fingers. Oh yeah, I will say, between now and the update, make sure you take a video or lots of screenshots and stuff of everything you have in your base, because we can cross our fingers and hope everything goes well, but we know how technology is, so it could be potential that, you know, you could wake up that morning and go to log in your base and suddenly all your shit's gone. So yeah, make videos and take a lot of screenshots of everything that you have just in case. And until Thursday, we'll talk to you then. Have a good one.
Laters.
See you.